Now, Esther, earlier in the show we covered that very explosive Vanity Fair article. Love your comments on it. Very interesting point made by Camilla Tominey in her article in The Telegraph and on Twitter. She raised some of these allegations years ago and got shouted down for being a racist. But look, what are your thoughts? And has this cemented their reputation? Is there any going back from here?
I highly doubt it. So the problem that Meghan has in particular is the fact that these rumors of bullying and being intolerable to work with have followed her from the royal family. So now you have a situation where there's many sort of corresponding unrelated voices saying exactly the same thing. And you really have to think, well, where there's smoke, there's fire. The thing about Meghan is she doesn't really have any sort of business management experience in the traditional sense. It's not like she worked in a consultancy firm or whatever. Her father had worked in the movie industry, and in a certain way, that was kind of her way in. She did run that blog site, but it's hardly a multinational company. So you have a woman who's built a career in an industry where narcissists reign supreme. These are people that are often lauded for things that have very little to do with competence and more to do with how you look. And then she's trying to transfer those minimal skills to actually putting together an enterprise and managing people, human resources, that sort of thing. There's inevitably going to be some friction. And unfortunately, that seems to be what we're seeing time and time again. You know, most people that are not experts in things know that they have to hire people that are experts and have the humility to hand over the reins, but not someone like Meghan Markle and by extension Harry, who are obsessed with their public image. But unfortunately, that obsession has led them to make decisions both in their personal and public life that has meant that many people will not resonate with a lot of the things that they do. Now, it's got to the point where really everything they touch turns to the opposite of gold, if you know what I mean. And it's quite because the things that they try to raise awareness of, social issues that are near and dear to their heart, they just become either ignored or they become almost ridiculed, because it's like, if the Sussexes are taking you seriously, it's not really something to be concerned about. And that's quite unfortunate, and it's just due to some really poor machinations on their part.
Now, Harry's going to be in the UK very shortly. The trial against the News Group newspapers is commencing on Tuesday. What can we expect? And from the trial, but also, about his security and lodgings and the like?
So this trial, just for a bit of context, is against the News Group newspapers, who are the editors of the Sun and the defunct News of the World newspapers. Now, the interesting thing about this is the 40 other initial sort of claimants of the case have settled out of court, mainly because they argued that if they hadn't settled, they would have been sort of stuck with the millions of pounds in legal fees, as well as probably an deal from the Sun, or the newspaper News Group, if they had lost. It looks like, and it's very clear, that Prince Harry is doing this mainly for reputation reasons, and money is no object. Now, we know that in his stay in London this time, he's going to get limited armed protection from the Metropolitan Police. Mark Rowley, the commissioner, has confirmed that. But he will not be staying in Buckingham Palace, even though it's been understood that he was offered a place to stay there, as well as his last visit to the UK. Now, we know that he's not happy with this sort of limited, on a case-by-case police protection, because one, it means he feels like he can't bring his family back to the UK, and also he feels like he's been singled out, even though his lawsuit against the Home Office was thrown out and was not seen that way. So it's very obvious that the Prince Harry is mainly after these sort of lawsuits, not necessarily for the financial gain, but to clarify what he feels like is an injustice. The question is whether he will actually get the kind of win that he's after. We know that in his last case, it was mainly sort of a fact-finding mission, where he was alleging that these newspapers gathered information unlawfully, and then it was found out that there was either a palace briefing or that they found out the information online, like most other people. So whether he has any hard evidence is yet to be seen. The fact that all the other claimants but one basically settled out of court is also concerning about the real possibility of him winning or getting any sort of big win that he's after.
Well, it will be very interesting to see. Esther Krakue, as always, thank you so much.